America is a land of many opportunities. We have the right to free speech, the right to bear arms, and overall just the right to choose. American citizens work hard and are rewarded with success. Money, a nice house, a nice car, and a nice family. With this precedent, America was nicknamed the land of the free. Dane Golden from the Youth and Family Achievement Program ventured onto the streets of London to find if this reputation still holds in this day and age. He found that Londoners now have a different impression.
Right.
Like everything big.
Like everything big?
Big, everything big. Food, flags, cars, everything.
Just everything is big, you know, you go over there and like the portions like double the size here. And
Yeah.
It's everything's larger than life over there, you know.
Their accents.
Their accents?
Yeah, and about getting fat.
They just sit around and eat all day.
Like to eat a lot, overweight.
We like to eat a lot. While not every American likes to eat so much, some people do to the point where they're obese, and this is a problem. Currently, 35% of adult Americans, almost 79 million, are obese, and according to the Center for Disease Control, as of 2012, at least 33% of the nation's children were overweight or obese. Now, obesity can lead to multiple health problems, such as cardiovascular disease, a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, joint problems, sleep apnea, social or psychological problems, and even an increased risk of cancer. With the percent of these obese children rising over the years, this is what Dr. Saul Lacagna has to say.
It's anticipated that the next generation will not live as long as this current generation if things continue to go the way they are.
This devastating news brought about new efforts to end obesity, especially childhood obesity. Michelle Obama began her Let's Move campaign to encourage kids to live healthier lifestyles by removing sodas from school campuses and increasing the amount of physical activities on campus. In 2014, she promoted her Let's Move program with the CDC report that childhood obesity was declining. However, a University of North Carolina study revealed that the data was manipulated.
UNC researchers looked at the same data set as the CDC did, children aged 2 to 19, and found in 1999, 14.5% were considered obese. That number had increased to 17.3% by the year 2012. But let's take a look. The CDC study looked at children aged 2 to 5, started in 2003, took it to 2012, over a decade, and found a 43% decline. But the UNC researchers took that starting point back earlier to when the data collection actually began, 1999, and found no decline or no significant decline. What's the reason for that? It's because in 2003, there was an unusual bubble in the obesity rate. And if you use that as a starting point, as the CDC did, it looks like there's a decline. But if you move that starting point back further, that bubble averages out and the decline disappears.
Since Let's Move's inception in 2008, the overall rate of obesity has remained the same. Evidently, Americans still have not found an effective solution to this nationwide problem, despite our efforts and current education programs. So what are we doing to fight childhood obesity, and where should we look to find an effective solution? On a federal level, fitness programs such as the Presidential Youth Fitness Program are promoted. This is the program that uses the infamous annual fitness assessment during PE class. It provides instructional strategies to promote physical activity. Now, despite its good intentions, only 6 states adhere to appropriate guidelines for 150 minutes of physical activity each week. Furthermore, budget cuts and increased testing pressures are causing programs to be reduced. Every state has their own physical education requirements for students. However, these requirements are often limited and not enforced. Many of these programs are inadequate. Schools are able to bypass these requirements. To test this out, I went to the Presidential Youth Fitness Program's website to check it out. On there is a link where you can go to print out your very own certificate that recognizes your school as a proud participant of the PFYP program. Now, all I had to do was fill out a form. I put down my name, identified myself as a student, and even without putting down a school or district name, I was able to submit that information and receive a downloadable copy of the certificate. Well, now that I printed this out, I might as well just put my name on it. Look, now I'm a proud participant of the Presidential Youth Fitness Program. The fact that anyone can do this only demonstrates the ineffectiveness of the program. Since Let's Move's inception in 2008, the overall rate of obesity has remained the same. Evidently, Americans still have not found an effective solution to this nationwide problem, despite our efforts and current education programs. So what are we doing to fight childhood obesity, and where should we look to find an effective solution? Exercise, if even a little bit, is an important first step in combating obesity. But mandatory PE classes are not enough to keep kids healthy. The CDC also recommends that PE be supplemented with health education to provide students with knowledge, attitudes, skills, and experiences needed for lifelong healthy eating and physical activity. Educating kids with lifelong skills to keep them healthy should be the key to ending obesity, yet this ambitious goal is easier said than done. In 1992, Americans were introduced to the first graph depiction of what foods they should be eating and how much of it they should eat. This diagram was called the Healthy Food Pyramid, and millions of American families used it as a guide for their day-to-day meals. However, this pyramid was not based on scientific research, and furthermore, people had no sense of what a serving was, so they just assumed as long as they ate more bread than salt, they were healthy. Realizing this, the United States Department of Agriculture released a new diagram called My Pyramid, which divided the amount of food each person should eat into wedges, scrapped their numbers of serving sizes each person should get, and added a person walking up the steps on the side of the pyramid to promote exercise. This diagram left adults baffled and kids hopeless. Mom, I need a wedge of vegetables and a larger wedge of grains and a smaller wedge of dairy for dinner. At best, the child's mom will give him a combo slice of pizza, topped with veggies and meat, and a slice of pie for dinner. Parents and kids were still missing the point, so the USDA again racked its brains for an easier diagram to guide Americans' healthy eating habits. Finally, we've come to settle with the USDA-approved and Harvard research Choose My Plate, a plate with portions a quarter grain, a quarter protein, slightly more than a quarter vegetables, and slightly less than a quarter fruit. My Plate provides a cup on the side for dairy, presumably for milk. While this plate actually gives people an idea of what they should be eating, it does not help people determine how much they are eating. Sadly, this plate contributes to obese children's notions that they should eat more healthy foods to lose weight, rather than emphasize that kids should eat less unhealthy foods and monitor their portion sizes. A mother documents her daughter's obesity.
Do you know how to lose weight?
Yes. To eat more apples and drink more water and exercise every day. Eat more fruits and vegetables and drink more water and play basketball.
These kids have an inkling as to how to lose weight, which is great, but not so much about the things they are not supposed to do. Their current lifestyle choices led them to be obese, so now not only do they need to eat less unhealthy food, but be more conscious about the other foods they are eating. These girls demonstrate no awareness of how much they are eating, and it is likely that their ignorance will prevail into adulthood. Kids who are not educated on portion sizes in their youth are prone to overeating throughout their lifetime. According to the CDC, restaurant or fast food serving sizes have greatly increased right alongside the obesity epidemic. Modern-day restaurants on average serve twice as much food as one serving. Uneducated adults often just consume the extra calories, and educated adults, well, to find out what educated adults do, we turn to Mary Ellen Autry, registered dietitian and head of diabetes management from the Austin Diagnostic Clinic.
So if you're in a restaurant and you're served a large potato, you can end up cutting it in half and taking part of it home. I like to order the to-go plate with my drink, so when the meal comes, I can place into the container the portion that I do not want to eat and the portion I want to take home and have for the next lunch or the next dinner.
Many adults eat the majority of what is on their plate or just struggle to finish their plate so they do not have to waste food or have leftovers. According to D News, the average American adult eats 92% of what is on their plate, while the average child only finishes 59% of their plate. If a serving of food is only half of what restaurants serve, kids are eating the healthy amount. Yet as these smart kids grow older, the CDC fails to teach them lifelong healthy eating habits, and these succumb to the societal expectation that they finish their food. These kids become adults who unknowingly eat more than what is healthy, have children, and teach them their unhealthy habits. The CDC recognizes the need to partner with parents and families when fighting childhood obesity. Their School Health Guideline 7 states that school will partner with families and community members in the development and implementation of healthy eating and physical activity policies, practices, and programs. It is crucial that parents have the tools to promote healthy eating. Parents are the ones who show kids what to eat, how to cook, and how often to eat. The CDC interacts with the community by demonstrating cultural awareness and healthy eating. They provide information for parents on their website. But parents must be looking for the information to find it. Many parents of children who are obese are often oblivious or ignorant to the problem in general.
People think, oh, she's overweight because she eats all the time, and that's not the case.
I like a lot of stuff deep fried.
She has respiratory issues.
Corn dogs.
She's on a lot of steroids every day.
Deep fried turkey.
She's on a lot of breathing inhalers.
And like some fries maybe.
And that's what keeps Alana thick.
I like chicken nuggets. I like to dip it in normally honey mustard, some mayonnaise, ketchup maybe, barbecue sauce.
My pediatrician seems not too concerned because he knows why.
I like to get chocolate donuts and put them in my milk. That's really good.
Even if Alana Thompson, more often known as Honey Boo Boo, was trying to eat healthy, I bet she'd want, let's see, half a potato as the nutritionist Mary recommends, with a whole ton of bacon bits, sour cream, and cheese, with a side of chocolate donuts and milk for dairy. Who's to blame for her obesity? Well, it's quite obvious that much of her weight is due to the types of foods she chooses to eat. However, Honey Boo Boo's mother, often referred to as Mama June, seems to be in denial, stating that Alana's medical conditions caused her to be obese, rather than recognizing that her obesity is causing her to have medical problems. Keith Ayub, director of the nutrition clinic at Albert Einstein College, relates childhood obesity to asthma in an easy-to-understand analogy.
We have big dogs. I buy, these 35, 40-pound bags of food for a dog, and I talk to their parents and say, listen, if we gave your son, who is 40 pounds overweight, one of those big sacks of dog food to carry around 24/7, and usually at that point their eyes kind of widen. And I said, well, you know what? That's what your child is carrying around every day, even when they sleep. And if a child has asthma, and many children in the Bronx do, that really, obviously affects their breathing, but the extra weight is also going to make it more difficult for that child to breathe.
And we all know dogs need to eat. No one can deny this cute pooch food. What if the food is killing her? She doesn't know any better, but her caretakers do. ABC News reporter Paula Ferris notes it's not just Mama June who needs a reality check.
Call it the Augustus Gloop effect.
I just knew Augustus would find a golden ticket. Eating is his hobby, you know.
Parents seemingly unconcerned and in some cases oblivious to obesity in their own children. In fact, a brand new study shows 25% of parents underestimate the weight of their children, while 27% of children and teens underestimate their own weight. And experts say that's a big problem.
Parents often feel that kids will outgrow their overweight, and I always tell them not likely to happen, so we really need to make some changes.
It is a big problem that currently 25% of parents underestimate their child's weight and do not see the risks of being obese. If parents are oblivious to such facts, then how are their children supposed to develop healthy eating habits and exercise routines? It goes without saying, parents need to be educated about nutrition. Among Healthy Guidelines 7 from the CDC, there are 8 others that seek to promote the health of the individual. However, the federal government is slow in implementing all of the guidelines and failed to make it mandatory all the same. Lisa Ling, a representative of the Oprah Winfrey Network, spent a day with the mother and her 12-year-old daughter who was fighting obesity to see just what was going on.
So you've never ever picked up fresh vegetables in the produce section?
Nothing but the greens and the lettuce, a bit of cabbage.
But you usually don't buy a lot of that, do you?
This cabbage.
You do? And do you cook the cabbage?
Fry it.
You fry the cabbage?
That's my favorite vegetable.
With Brianna's health in jeopardy, Chanel has started to second guess what she's putting on the dinner table.
So when you were taught to cook, were you ever taught about what foods might be healthier than other ones?
No, I was not. I was just taught to cook the soul food.
Which is not quite low fat, huh?
No. I need someone to teach me how. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how going by doing it to shop healthy.
This mother is crying for help. She obviously didn't know better as a child, as an adult, or as a parent. Her parents influenced her unhealthy eating habits, so she continues to eat that way, and now is posing serious health problems to her daughter. Parents are often the foundation that children build on, and for families like the one Lisa Ling interviewed, obesity can be a perpetuating problem. Children learn unhealthy eating habits from their parents, then teach it to their kids, who teach it to their kids. And parents become aware of 1. Childhood obesity, 2. Associated health risks, and 3. Healthy choices in the kitchen, such as what foods to eat and how to cook them. People will be one step closer to reducing childhood obesity rates. However, if all 3 points are not addressed, the CDC's Healthy Guidelines 7, which address partnering with the community, will leave Americans floundering to solve a problem they do not know how to solve. Ultimately, the CDC's efforts will spread awareness of childhood obesity, but be ineffective in reducing the number of obese children. So until the government actually federally mandates the CDC's guidelines,
to eat more apples and drink more water and exercise every day.
I decided to take matters into my own hands by going down to the supermarket. Right, so apples. Let's see, better get started on these.